Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into 4 terrifying, true accounts of what actually happens when the safety net of civilization just completely vanishes. Picture this. You're miles from home, your phone has absolutely zero service, and suddenly you realize you aren't alone anymore. Today's Explainer zeroes in on that primal fear of complete isolation. We rely so heavily on our cars, our smartphones, and just the proximity of other people. But what happens when all of that is suddenly stripped away? The source material we're digging into today details 4 deeply unsettling experiences where everyday people found themselves totally stranded, totally vulnerable, and face-to-face with the unexplainable. Section 1. Stranded on the highway. All right, our first story kicks off with a broke musician running out of gas on a desolate highway at 2 in the morning. He's just finished playing a show, and he has exactly $5 to his name. He puts it into a gas pump, but the pump doesn't even work, leaving his tank bone dry. To make matters worse, his phone can barely load a web page, let alone make a reliable call for help. So he figures his safest bet is just to lock his doors, hunker down, and ride out the night in his car. But then, out of nowhere, this young blonde woman in a hood just appears out of the pitch black, inching toward his car. The driver spots her out of his passenger window. At first, she isn't doing anything explicitly threatening, but she's moving at this agonizingly, unnaturally slow pace. When the driver crocks his window to shout and ask if she needs any help, nothing. She remains completely silent, just inching closer and closer to his locked doors. Now, this is where the sheer auditory horror really kicks in. The woman suddenly begins violently banging on the passenger door, literally like a wild animal. The driver, panicking, tries to pull out his phone to record her, and that just sets her off. It triggers this immediate, hyper-aggressive response. And even though she looks like a completely normal young woman, the sounds coming out of her are just completely unnatural. We're talking literal growls and grunts as she desperately rips at the door handle. So he bails. He grabs his keys, grabs his guitar, and literally sprints for miles to the nearest town, leaving all his expensive music gear behind. When he finally returns with help at dawn, he finds the back door of his car wide open. But, and here's the crazy part, his gear is completely untouched. It leaves this chilling, unresolved mystery of what she actually wanted. I mean, if this was a robbery, everything of value would be long gone. Instead, only the back door was opened. Was she looking for something to steal, or was she looking for a place to hide and wait for him to come back?
Section 2. Screams in the forest.
You know, isolation isn't just terrifying when you're stuck on a highway. Our second chapter takes 2 experienced hikers, Jackie and her boyfriend, deep, deep into the woods. They're using the forest as a therapeutic escape, miles away from civilization. But that peace shatters completely when they suddenly hear these pleading, begging screams. And we aren't talking about cheesy movie screams. These radiate real, guttural pain. The boyfriend yells out, trying to locate the person, asking them to just give a sign. But whoever is screaming just completely ignores him. They just keep begging and pleading into the void, until suddenly, the screaming abruptly stops. Dead silence.
After the screaming stops, the hiker searches the immediate area where the sounds were coming from. He finds no signs of a struggle, no blood, and absolutely no person. But what he does find is this bizarre, completely out-of-place backpack just hanging from a tree branch. And the inventory inside is so strange. It's holding a cell phone charger, a cheap pocket knife, and a deeply unsettling, generic thank you card written in cursive and signed, "Love, Mom." And the craziest part? To this day, this remains a completely unsolved mystery. It was like this bag just fell right out of the sky. The hikers immediately sent Jackie to get the police, who actually took it really seriously. But the investigation turned up absolutely nothing. They couldn't match the handwriting, and there were 0 missing persons reported in the area that matched the situation. Whatever happened in those woods, and whoever was screaming in such agonizing pain, they just vanished. Section 3. The Abandoned School. So our third encounter follows 2 18-year-old horror fans on a summer road trip who decided it'd be fun to explore an abandoned, cross-shaped Catholic school in New England. And there's just this massive, sharp contrast between their naive sense of adventure and the terrifying reality of actually breaking into a pitch-black building that literally smells like dead animals. Feeling invincible, like most teenagers do, they leave their cell phones in the car, they find an unlocked side door leading into the gymnasium, and they just start wandering through these decaying hallways under the faint light of the moon. But things escalate, and they escalate fast. First, it starts with a simple, strange smashing noise echoing from down the hall. Then, one of them spots this dark figure blocking out the faint moonlight in a distant classroom. They immediately hide, holding their breath as these light footsteps walk right past their door and stop. They make a break for the exit, but suddenly, the footsteps change. It no longer sounds like a person. It sounds like a massive bull is charging right behind them, chasing them all the way back down the brick hallway to the gymnasium. Bam! The trap is sprung. They sprint back to the exact same door they walked through just minutes prior, frantically yanking on the handle. It's totally immovable. The previously unlocked gym door is completely sealed shut. They are now officially stranded in a dark, foul-smelling building with something massive hunting them from the hallway. They've got to find a window, and fast. They sprint to a nearby classroom, and as the girl uses a desk chair to smash the glass, the narrator looks through the door window, and what he sees is pure nightmare fuel. He sees an enormous shadow cast against the hallway wall, just swaying back and forth. They dive out the shattered window and escape to their car. But before speeding off, the narrator tests that gym door from the outside one last time. It had been manually locked, leaving them with the terrifying question of who or what was guarding that school.
Section 4. The Creepy Shedded.
Our final chapter plunges a reluctant camper completely off trail. He's on private property with a reckless friend, and in a terrifying loss of control, he tumbles down a steep cliff. He gets separated from his friends and actually ends up completely trapped between two rocks. Literally like that movie 102 7 Hours. After wandering in the wrong direction for hours, he tries to scale this natural rock staircase. A boulder crumbles under his grip, his leg slides perfectly into a crevice, and he is wedged in tight. As the sun starts setting, he's just screaming for help, completely at the mercy of the elements.
Just as he's screaming, this strange man suddenly steps out from the tree line. He's unnervingly skinny, wearing a red flannel shirt and glasses. He casually strolls up, moves a massive piece of rock with seemingly impossible, unnatural ease, and completely frees the hiker's leg. But instead of engaging in a normal conversation or asking if he's okay, the man completely ignores his pleas. He just monotonously repeats that the hiker needs to follow him, claiming that his friends are waiting at his house. Now, this is where every single survival instinct should be screaming at you, because the man doesn't lead him to a house. Battered and exhausted, the hiker follows him deeper into the woods, only to arrive at this massive, oversized, windowless shed in the middle of nowhere. The stranger stops at the door, absolutely refuses to bring the friends outside, and insists the hiker go inside first, claiming it's not safe outside. The hiker finally bolts. He knows his friends would never just walk into a creepy shed, so he turns and sprints blindly into the dark forest. And instantly, he realizes the man wasn't alone. He hears not one, but two pairs of heavy boots pounding the dirt, actively chasing him. He somehow manages to lose them, huddling in the fetal position against a tree in total silence all night until the sun finally rises. He eventually finds a road and flags down a passing car, barely escaping with his life.
Section 5. Surviving the unknown.
So what exactly ties all these harrowing experiences together in this explainer? It's the complete removal of the safety net. The moment you lose your self-service, your car, or the daylight, you are entirely at the mercy of the environment and whoever or whatever is waiting in it. Whether it's an empty gas tank on a 2 a.m. highway, the sudden isolation of the deep woods, or an abandoned building that turns into a literal cage, the illusion of safety can just disappear in an instant. Modern conveniences definitely lull us into this false sense of security, but as these accounts show, the world can turn predatory very, very quickly. As we wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with a terrifying thought to keep you on the edge of your seat the next time you're miles from home. Think about it. If your safety net vanished right now, if your car broke down tonight, leaving you completely alone in the dark, and someone or something stepped out of the shadows, what would your next move be? Stay safe out there, everyone.